Two creatures of the gamer embark on an epic quest seeking the last of the Webkinz. A YouTuber questioning his own sexuality due to comments calling him a twink, and his best friend who claims that there are still Webkinz left, hiding from the clutches of capitalism. Have any survived the onslaught of irrelevancy? Will Haydox finally finish the Spyro retrospective? No. Will Haydox achieve his nostalgic ad revenue? This is their story.
We're at Walmart, land of the free, home of the brave.
Huh?
Are you taking a picture?
You put it on video.
No, that was the joke. Google has lied to us. They said that Walmart sold Webkinz, but they didn't. So now we're going to the dollar store to see if they have them, which they don't because it's $1. This is not a Webkinz. And I can't think of anything funny to say because I'm actually disappointed and sad. Film me for a second! So we didn't find the Webkinz at the Dollar Tree, so now our last best bet is to go to Target to see if they have Webkinz, which, who even knows what a fucking Webkinz is anymore? My gamer senses are tingling. So we didn't find the Webkinz.
Webkinz?
Yeah, we didn't find them.
What are you talking about?
Dude, she's epic. So we didn't find a Webkinz. We went to 4 stores to find Webkinz, and yeah, like, why would they have Webkinz? But I'm still disappointed. I'm very disappointed, and I don't want to go on Amazon.com to buy a Webkinz, nor do I want to give Webkinz my credit card information and my mother's email. What is this? The last of its kind. And then cut. When I was in elementary school back in 2006, I'd like to say it was, our entire town was obsessed with these stuffed toys, these Webkinz. Popularity in those dark ages wasn't determined by looks in my school. No, for a little while, how cool you were depended entirely on how many Webkinz you had. Seriously, this was like some post-Marxism level shit, where the entire system of currency was abolished and the pro-la Webkinz-tariat ruled. We had this girl who always sat in the back of the bus because she had over 35 Webkinz, even though she was like in 2nd grade. She was the queen, and we were all pawns with our measly sums of 4 or 5 Webkinz each. In the extreme cases of Webkinz-driven poverty, you had no Webkinz and were labeled as a Webkinz hipster. And if you had some exclusive, more popular Webkinz like the Shark or Splash Dragon, you had the chance to move through the ranks of our school's competitive hierarchy. I'm not lying either, this shit was real and it was intense. See, back then, I was sort of a chubby child. I mean, look at this face. This is the face only, oh, well, it's a face no one liked to see, let's put it at that. My own mother would always blur my face out in Photoshop for family pictures. Being the sad little boy I tried to break my way into the 1% the only way I knew how. Whining to my mom and dad to get them to buy me a bunch of silly Webkinz. It took some time, but eventually I did it. I broke the chains of the bourgeoisie. I got a hairy monkey, a penguin, and a cocker spaniel, which my grandma thought would turn me gay because it had the word cock in it. And then, I think I got some more plush pets, but honestly, I don't remember the other Webkinz I got when I was younger. Point is, these average, beta-level Webkinz weren't enough to break through the upper echelons of popularity. I was devastated for a bit, but I just kept eating sprinkles covered in chocolate syrup and going for that bag of shredded mozzarella cheese at 3 in the morning. So who's to say who the real loser of that situation was? Spoiler alert, it was me. Despite this, it wasn't all for naught because I spent a long time on the Webkinz site itself. I remember having a blast playing the arcade games, doing the fashion shows, and just engrossing myself in the Webkinz lore. Webkinz was my fucking jam 10 years ago. It was the first game I remember spending a lot of time in, and this was before my Wizard 101 obsession, the one that cost me $200 worth of gift cards. Seeing just this icon of the Cocker Spaniel getting sick takes takes me back. And replaying it today, or actually like more like a year ago now, whoa, whoopsie doopsie, was a nostalgia-infused ride of weird memories. This is because Webkinz, at least how I remember it, is virtually unchanged. I'm surprised to see people still active on this site. I honestly thought this would be dead or something. In 2006, you would see Webkinz plush toys everywhere in stores. There was no shortage of this commodity, but nowadays, I don't think the plushies are even in production anymore. I mean, I haven't seen one of these plush toys anywhere, and I haven't seen anyone talk about Webkinz unless it's reminiscing on the memories created by it. Anyways, today I thought it would be fun to revisit the dormant site to see whether or not it's as good as I remember, and if anything at all has really changed. So, Webkinz was first released to the masses in 2005 when a bunch of plush toys were mass-produced and the site was launched. The idea was spawned by the toy company called Gans, which I should highlight as one of the most wholesome companies I think I've read about. It was founded by the Gans family, very coincidental I know, and since the success of their Webkinz brand, they've started the Webkinz Foundation, which supports children's programs around the world. Unfortunately, their site for that organization now features someone using the bathroom along with foreign business advice. Does this help children? I mean, probably? Actually accessing and playing Webkinz is free, but that's only the case if you want to have the non-deluxe plebeian experience. To improve your socioeconomic standing, you'll have to cough up some money for a monthly membership. Let me tell you, this shit is not cheap, but at least I don't think I put in hundreds of dollars into this system like I did with Wizard 101. Oh, and if you're not content with just the free pet you're given, you'll have to go out and buy one of these plush toys and enter in the special code attached to it. Nothing was worse back in the day than buying a Webkinz and eventually finding out that your code was stolen. I remember I cried when I couldn't immediately play with a penguin Webkinz my mom bought me. It was utterly devastating to a child like me whose only joy in life was Webkinz. I should really drive this point home. I like to divide my childhood into periods of games I was obsessed with at the time. There was the Pokemon Silver era, the Chao Garden era, not Sonic Adventure 2, the Chao Garden, the Webkinz era, the Wizard 101 era, and then the Minecraft era. I think the Webkinz era was by far the most average one, but don't mistake me. I lived, I breathed, and I even ate, only once though, Webkinz. To my surprise, when I finally sat down and played Webkinz again 10 years later, I was kind of disappointed. The game has not aged well at all. And since virtually nothing has changed aesthetically or from a gameplay standpoint, I shouldn't be surprised, but I still am. I mean, this game still uses fucking Comic Sans as its font of choice. So why is it so lacking? Comic Sans is usually the sign of a good game, not a bad one. Wizard 101 proudly displayed this magnificent typeface, and I love that gem, so what's wrong with Webkinz? Well, I think it has a lot to do with time itself. It can be a cruel beast to all of us, and Webkinz has aged worse than Super Mario 64. It's a great game. Haha, that's what I meant to say. Haha. Please don't, I have no life to give. The presentation of Webkinz to an older me is just laughable. Character illustrations look like something straight out of Go Animate, but I have to admit, just looking at that Cocker Spaniel makes me so nostalgic. Maybe Grandma was right. I don't mind the drawings of the characters themselves. For some reason, the cow and the teacher getup looks who the fuck wrote this? I'm not attracted to Webkinz, come on now. Get your head out of the garbage. Nevertheless, I think the art suffers from being so compressed in such a terrible aspect ratio and poor resolution. Movement is also robotic and clunky. I can see where Scott Cawthon maybe got his ideas for animatronic birds from just taking a quick look at Miss Birdie over there. I think Webkinz would have benefited from updating these animations so everything didn't look so stiff. But what can I expect from an 11-year-old project that has pretty much faded away? What could have also been nice is if the voice clips were improved, because all the audio sounds like it was recorded behind an Arby's in a dumpster on a fucking built-in laptop microphone.
And if you ever want to see these Webkinz again, just look for the button in your options here. Bye!
Welcome to the Curio Shop. Hope you find what you're looking for.
Did you bring dinner?
Now that's kind, but I don't take charity.
It sounds so heavily compressed and reminds me of how terrible Club Penguin's audio sounded in-game. Please forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. Needless to say, the visuals are definitely not that great, but just by looking at the footage, I'm sure you could tell. Oh, and another weird thing is that ads are displayed alongside the game, which, by the way, is another distinct browser opened from the main site. The game crashes a whole lot too. Oftentimes I'll be trying to go on a soothing vacation or whatever, and all of a sudden, everything will just freeze, forcing me to lose progress and restart. It wasn't something I was angry over, it was simply annoying how frequently these technical mishaps took place. I guess that's another sign of Webkinz really showing its elderly age, eh? As with any game, it's not all about the graphics or presentation or looks. What about the gameplay? What do you actually do in Webkinz besides collect the plush toys? Honestly, not too much. I hate that I have to be so negative about something I once held so near and dear to me. It's just that Webkinz, from a gameplay perspective, does not hold up well. I know it's a kid's game, but that doesn't excuse it from being what it is. Just because it's a kid's game doesn't mean it can't have flaws. I know if I had a kid, which I think I don't, yeah, pretty sure. I know I wouldn't want my kid to have to suffer through garbage gameplay. I'd give them an actually good game, like Call of Duty for the Nintendo DS and never look back. Webkinz's gameplay, or Webkinz gameplay, as I like to call it, TM, essentially boils down to a collection of various unique Flash minigames and life simulation. The life simulation part of this game is basically like taking care of your own pet. You have to make sure it gets its rest, it is happy, and it eats. Unlike real life, Webkinz takes all the challenge out of having a pet and only leaves in the fun bits, which I like. It's all about keeping the player happy and the experience stress-free. Not having to worry about the critter's health is refreshing, I suppose, considering food is plentiful, Kinz Cash is easy to come by, and there are many things you can do to keep your Webkinz occupied. I can appreciate this design choice because, as I mentioned before, this was a game made for children, and having old Sparky the dog die in game would be absolutely heartbreaking for a child. There was actually a huge rumor that circulated online about the Webkinz killer, an entity that was murdering Webkinz and coming for yours. The situation got so intense that the company had to publicly dispel rumors because parents and children were getting frightened. They reassured their fans that Webkinz can't die. So are they devils or angels if they're immortal? Please tweet at Gans right now. I need to know more about Webkinz lore. Okay, so I'm interrupting this video because I think it's important to highlight this Snopes article about the Webkinz murderer. The claim: children's Webkinz are being murdered online. Status false. Oh gee, I don't know why. My children came home from school and all the talk in the 1st and 2nd grade was of some kind of Webkinz malware. A black, red, or yellow box appears in your Webkinz world. If you click on the black box, a Neopet pops out with a knife and chops your Webkinz head off. What I'm hearing is that several of the kids at school have logged onto their Webkinz, and when they check their house, there's a killer bear roaming around with a knife and it stabs the other animals. Supposedly, a neighbor logged into hers and one of the animals was found lying in a pool of blood. It pops out like when you got a gift. Then Dr. Quack or Miss Birdie pops out, lights go out, red eyes come, it makes slashing noises on your computer, and then the lights turn on and your Webkinz are dead on the floor with blood on them. You probably think that Webkinz people could never do that. You are right, but Neopets would. I really like this line. Dr. Quack, the game's online physician, is frequently fingered as the Webkinz killer. There are also ways to customize your house and pet. Much like The Sims, you can choose where furniture goes and make new rooms if you have the capital to invest. When I was a kid, I remember eating this kind of thing right up because kids in our school would have serious competitions to see who could build the best, most extravagant home. Now, I don't think this home building is for me, and considering putting stuff down is a bit clunky, I didn't have fun with it, though I did enjoy dressing my Webkinz up as a sort of BDSM type. Okay, seriously, who the fuck keeps sexualizing these Webkinz in my script? Right, it's still me. I write this. Dress up and room designing is probably right up any child's alley. I know my little cousins love The Sims for that reason. Maybe if I wasn't such a hardened, cynical old man, I would have enjoyed this part of the game a little more. But at least there's the mini games to save this nostalgic experience. I remember these being super addicting back in the day and filled with some semblance of challenge. Fuckity fuck. I fully remember this stupid, wacky banana dude. This should be really fun. It was not fun. It was not fun at all. I hate to say it, but even these mini games are fairly garbage. It breaks my heart to have to be so negative about Webkinz. It really does. Unfortunately, none of these mini-games are anything I would even call good. They all remind me of those awful Flash games back in like 2005 that you'd find on the news section of those free Flash game forums. I mean, the Webkinz games already have about half those qualities going for it. That Bat mini-game I showed earlier is just so clunky, and the banana monster has absolutely no weight to him. The sound effects are off, the presentation is terrible, and this goes without saying, but how it plays is so fucking lacking. Some of these minigames exist to keep reeling you back into Webkinz, like with what are essentially gambling games you'd find at a casino. There's a slot machine disguised as a well and a wheel where you can spin it daily to get various prizes. It was so weird replaying all these games because I distinctly remember pouring tons of hours into them, especially Obese Pig Maze and Cash Cow. Revisiting those two, the ones I remember loving, they're just so poorly designed and they haven't aged well at all. I guess that's sort of a common theme with all the Webkinz, It hasn't changed its design or elements since 2006, so I shouldn't expect anything mind-blowing, I guess. Still, I was sort of hoping to come back to Webkinz and be able to love it as much as I did as a child. It was a blind hope, but that's the best I can do. Then again, I wonder if Webkinz was really this bad back when I played it as a kid and I just didn't know any better. That's probably the case, let's be honest here. Though I do feel like my rose-tinted nostalgia glasses have been ripped right off my face after replaying Webkinz. I think the game would benefit from having some sort of update, but it's too old at this point. It's probably not worth the effort or money to reinvest in Webkinz since the game is struggling to regain popularity despite having active, if minimal, marketing for it. The Webkinz stocks are going down, boys. There was a Webkinz mobile game that just released a few years ago, which is essentially the same game. Bugs and all. Is any of this worth playing? Probably not. It was torture to go through all these mini games and modes to see if anything was worth talking about in depth. Truth be told, it was a nice trip down memory lane, revisiting my childhood that made me into the person I am today. In a way, I guess I needed to see Webkinz again and see just how bad it was, somehow connecting me to the bad memories of the past and giving me much needed peace. Shit, that was way too deep. Look at this duck. It's got no pants. Laugh at me, please. Oh, and I almost forgot about the best part of the Webkinz experience. Much like Sesame Street, the characters of Webkinz have their own active Twitter accounts where they RP with each other, so be sure to RP with them as a Webkinz if you have the chance. So, did any of you play Webkinz back in the day? What did you think of it then and now? Let me know what you're thinking, please. I need to know every little thought in your head. And thank you so much for watching and take care. Have a wonderful day and good— Oh yeah, and apparently Gans World has made AMVs for the Webkinz. Please watch them. Hey guys, thanks for all the support on the Patreon and for being patient with me on this video. In addition to the names scrolling by, I'd like to thank Breeze, Ben Stegner, Rima, Michael V, Camel Traffic, Brendan Mansfield, Cameron Douglas, Evan, Sylphie, Snallix, Joe Eblin, Kyle Jennings, Pave the Way, Heath, Daniel Marissi, Deoxin, Vinesauce Puppet, Connor Cohen, and TVGN 2000. Thanks guys so much. If you want to support what I do on Patreon, you can, if you like. Not required or anything, but I always appreciate your help in making my videos super wacky and quirky.
Alright, good.